Welcome to RF Reviews. My name is Ryan, and today we're going to be talking about The Mandalorian. Before we can get into the review, I just want to point out that this is my first YouTube video on my channel. So if you want to learn more about me and my channel, make sure to stick around to the end of the video for that. And without further ado, let's dive right into the review. So, The Mandalorian takes place in the Star Wars universe and follows a Mandalorian played by Pedro Pascal, who is a highly skilled bounty hunter that must decide whether he should save or turn in the child, also known as, in the Star Wars community, Baby Yoda. He ultimately decides to save this child and decides to find a home for him. Now, that was a very brief summary of the entire Season 1 story, but I can't go into more depth without spoilers, so from here on out, there will be a spoiler warning. Then again, the show has been out for like a year, so if you haven't watched it, make sure to watch it. It's a very good show. To start it off, I just want to say that I do consider myself a Star Wars fan. I've seen all the movies, and I've seen the Clone Wars and Rebels. Also, these are all my opinions, so if you don't agree with me, that's fine. I'm just sharing what I think. Right off the bat, to get out of the way, I think this show is great, which is no surprise. The show has been praised by thousands of people, most people enjoying it, and I am no different. The show is great and is a welcome addition to the Star Wars canon. It has great characters and a good story, plus it's mostly made by Dave Filoni, who has a very impressive resume when it comes to making Star Wars media. It checks all the boxes when it comes to a great Star Wars series. I want to start off my more in-depth review by talking about the characters, and for the most part, almost all the characters in The Mandalorian are well done and fun to watch. Each of the mainish characters are great. Mando is a complete character who by the end of the story, you care for and are engaged in everything he does. Pedro Pascal, as the actor who plays the Mandalorian, does a great job here and is able to convey emotion without even showing his face, which is honestly amazing. It blows my mind. I don't even think I've ever seen a character who wears a mask for most of the show or TV that he's in, mostly because it's tough to convey emotion without seeing facial features. And even with all these setbacks to his ability to emote and show emotion, he still delivers a great performance, which is just super impressive. The next character I'm going to be talking about is the child, or Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda is adorable, as you know, and is surprisingly hilarious. Baby Yoda's actions and visual gags are definitely something that is underrated and should be talked about more. It's almost like the same kind of humor that is in the old LEGO Star Wars game, The Complete Saga. In the game, there is no talking, which means that there are only visual gags, and this definitely reminded me of that, for sure. Now, the next 5 characters were also very well done, but had a bit of a smaller role. Now, the first minor character I'm going to be talking about is a character in the show I ended up really hating, and that was the alien from the first episode of the show, the one that was frozen in carbonite. I really don't remember his name, but the character really got on my nerves. I think the writers were trying to be funny with him, but it ended up coming across as annoying. Anyway, besides him, most of the side characters were fairly interesting and fun to watch. Greef Karga, also before I get into any of these Star Wars names, I'm gonna butcher them. I'm not good at pronouncing Star Wars names, so. Anyway, Greef Karga, played by Apollo Creed himself, Carl Weathers' character, had a small but appreciated arc, and I'm excited to see more of him in the new season. I can't pronounce this name. That guy was played by a veteran actor, Nick Nolte, who I think did a great job here. I really enjoyed this character as a mentor to the Mandalorian. He ended up dying in one of the final episodes, but he served his purpose to the story, and he was a pleasure to watch when he was on screen. And finally, the last character on this list is IG-11, played by Taika Waititi himself. I thought this character was surprisingly funny, and the action scenes he was in were amazing. He played a role in the first episode and then was able to come back for the finale, where he shined and ended up sacrificing himself to save the rest of the main cast of characters. All these characters did a great job for the most part. Cough, cough. Whoever this is, I just don't know their name. If you know them, comment down below. I want to actually know. Now, under the story segment of the review, the overarching plot of the show is very engaging, but the story's highest and lowest points lie in the smaller side quest kind of episodes. Each episode of the show has its own little story for the most part, and the show does a great job of making you feel like all the episodes matter towards the main plot, eliminating the feel that there are any episodes that are filler. My least favorite episode was episode 4, Sanctuary. In the episode, the Mandalorian meets this ex-shock trooper, played by, sorry if I butcher her name, Gina Carano. Now, she isn't the problem with the episode. She is fine in a supporting character role, but the rest of the episode is just Mando helping this village fend off an Imperial walker. The main reason I didn't enjoy it that much was because the story wants you to care for the village, even though we just met them. Since I didn't really care for the village, the story wasn't engaging. Another reason why I didn't like the episode was that I felt like most of it was filler. The main reason for Mando coming to the planet in the first place was to lay low, and by the end of the story, he was leaving, and all the knowledge he gained was that he couldn't lay low there. I mean, it was kind of a waste of time for him. The only redeeming quality of this episode was Gina Carano's character. She does a great job here and helps make the episode a lot better all around. On the other hand, my favorite episode from The Mandalorian was Chapter 6, The Prisoner. This episode was flat out amazing and provided great backstory for The Mandalorian that helped flesh out his character. This episode would have been terrible if the new characters introduced weren't interesting additions to the show, but luckily they are. Each new character is filled to the brim with character development and backstory. The only thing bad about this is that it makes me want to see more from them, even though we're probably not going to. The main plot of the episode is that Mando and a few mercenaries have to break out a prisoner from a secure facility. We learn about Mando's past, and we see these new mercenaries, and you feel like there is some tension between them. Mando helps break out the prisoner, but is immediately backstabbed when they turn around and lock him in a cell. The rest of the episode is a race against the clock, as the rebel reinforcements are on their way to stop them, and Baby Yoda is at risk of being found by one of the mercenaries on the ship. This led to Mando having to escape and take down each mercenary to escape and save Baby Yoda in time. The story ends up working really well, and the scene where Mando tracks down each of the mercenaries felt like a horror movie with Mando hunting each of them. It really was amazing. And it's hard to put into words how much I love this episode, but it's a wild ride with many twists and turns in the story. Anyway, skipping ahead a bit, the end of the entire Mandalorian season is done really well, with the last episode being directed by Taika Waititi. Mando has to escape a planet with Baby Yoda before Moff Gideon, played by Giancarlo Esposito, captures him. The last story has many great payoffs with the main side characters from the story all coming back in an epic finale. In the end, we learn that Mando has to find a Jedi so he can help hand Baby Yoda off to someone who can help him. In my opinion, this is a great setup for Season 2. Overall, the story does have its ups and downs, but for the most part, a great, fun, and engaging ride with good payoffs and will leave you excited for more. So after analyzing The Mandalorian, I've decided on its score. Now before I do that, the way I evaluate movies is by enjoyment rating, or a percentage. I give a score anywhere between 1 to 100%. The higher the score, the more enjoyment I got out of it. Now, 100% will only be given to one piece of media at a time. If it has 100%, it's my favorite movie or TV show ever. If it's somewhere in the 90s, it's a must watch for anyone, and it was a very highly entertaining movie and very well made. If the score is somewhere in the 80s, it's a great movie or TV show and is highly recommended. It was well made and entertaining, but there was a few sizable flaws keeping it from getting a 90. If a movie or TV show gets in the 70s, it's enjoyable enough and would be worth watching depending if you're into it. These TV shows and movies are okay and are solid enough to be seen as good movies. If the movie is in the 60s, it's something you might want to watch every now and then, but really it wasn't that great. The movie was probably flat out okay. And if the movie was in the 50s, it's something I wouldn't watch again. It was probably lacking in a few key areas. And if a movie was in the 40s, I would definitely not be watching it again, unless to make fun of it, because of how bad it was. Anywhere in the 30s below are boring movies or just garbage and should not be watched. With that out of the way, The Mandalorian receives an 83%. That's it for the review. If you haven't seen The Mandalorian, make sure you do. It's a great show, and if you're sticking around to learn more about my channel, thanks. If you liked the video, please consider subscribing and leaving a like for future reviews on my channel. Okay, if you're still here, thanks. My name is Ryan, and I enjoy watching movies. I thought about making this channel for a long time, and I'm finally deciding to go through with it. On this channel, I'm looking forward to making movie reviews like this, and hopefully some reactions too. I'm going to keep this brief because I'm already on my 4th page of my outline, And yeah, I just want to say thanks for sticking around this long, and if you did, comment RF in the comments to let me know that you did, and that would mean a lot. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and if you want to watch more videos from me, go do that. And if there is no more videos from me, that means I haven't posted anything yet, and sorry about that. Hopefully they'll be coming soon, and bye.